Hey everyone, SuperAndrew64 here, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you all the third-party controllers that I own. So the first controller I'm going to show you is the Atari Flashback 8 wireless controller. It replicates the Atari 2600. As you can see, it has a big red button there, and there's also some additional buttons. There's a reset, select, and start, and also a replay button. So on the Atari Flashback 8 you can basically rewind, I think, a couple seconds before, so in case you screw up you don't have to restart the level all over. The only thing is, though, it uses batteries, which is not a big deal, but it would be nice if it had a wireless charger. The next controller, I'm going to show you the Sega Genesis Flashback HD controller. So basically this is for use with the at-games Sega Genesis Flashback. It's a 2.4 GHz wireless controller. It replicates a 6-button Genesis controller. It has also an extra button here, which is rewind. So basically what this does, it's basically what the flashback one does as well. You can go back a couple seconds in case like you die in Sonic or any games where you don't have to replay the whole level. Again, this also uses batteries. And another thing, they also put a screw in there for the battery compartment. I don't know if I can see it. Can't really see, but there's a screw right there. I read about that they can only sell this in Europe if they put the screw on the battery compartment, which is kind of annoying, but hey, cuts down production costs. For the next controller, this is the controller for the Gen X clone console by Retrobit. So basically this system can play NES games and Genesis games. So this controller was modeled after the 6-button Genesis controller. Also something called the slow feature, which basically it's like pressing start like really fast like this. So then it kind of like slows down the game for you. Next up we have the Brawler 64, which is by a company called Retro Fighters. This is the first ever Kickstarter that I backed, so overall I'm pretty happy with it. So it's basically a modernized N64 controller. See the N64 thing back there? It has one thing, kind of a pet peeve, is that it has Z triggers instead of the digital buttons, because these are analog buttons. So the original N64 controller had a digital button for the Z buttons, or Z button I should say. But then yeah, so it also has a turbo button right here, and so you can also use the accessories for the pack right here. The only thing that won't work with it is a transfer pack. They could not get the transfer pack compatible, which I don't think is a big deal, because really the only game that I know that uses it is Pokemon Stadium. Okay, so next one here is a bit of a weird one. It's the Interact fishing controller. As you can see, it says right there, fishing controller. And this is for use with the Sega Dreamcast. It's primarily for fishing games. You see there's a reel here, and they also have the analog stick and the face buttons there. So it has a motion control, so when you're reeling things in, you have to literally pull like that. I've also heard this can be used for fighting games. I guess some people, like, if your character uses like a sword, you can like swing it around. I haven't tried that out yet, but I probably should. Now for the next controller, this is just a cheap knockoff GameCube controller that I got off of eBay. It does the job. I mean, it doesn't feel the same way as a regular GameCube controller, but I just got it because it was like 10 bucks, and it does a job, so can't really complain with this. So it's got all the, it looks exactly like a GameCube controller. So next up we have the Horry Battle Pad. This is the Mario edition. So this is for use with the Wii and the Wii U. It's modeled after a GameCube controller, however it has the extra Z button on the top there, so you can use it fully functioning. So the triggers are not analog like the original GameCube controller, they're digital. So, and also it is shaped slightly different. The D-pad is a bit bigger, and like the curve here is a little flatter. It has turbo buttons. You can adjust like the speed of the turbo with this little switch here. So this would be probably good for someone for like maybe like Smash Bros on the Wii U. If you don't want to get that GameCube adapter, you can always get this controller, which is, I think it feels pretty good for the most part. It's very light. That's due to the fact it doesn't have any rumble feature. But again, I think this is a pretty good controller, and I'm happy that I got it. So next up we have the PDP Afterglow controller for Xbox 360. So this is modeled after an Xbox 360 controller. The case is clear, so you can see all the insides here. And also, there are red lights around the controller, so when the rumble is activated, the lights light up. It also has a rumble feature, so you can see the rumble as the motors in there. It also has a 2.5mm headphone jack in case you still want to use a voice chat. I use this mainly for my PC and Xbox 360 developers kit. Here's the Xbox 360 controller, so you can see when it rumbles, it lights up there. See the rumble motors are moving, and then the lights are going up. Next up, another one from PDP is the PDP Afterglow Prismatic wired controller for Xbox One. It has a detachable micro USB cable you can use, which is nice, so in case the cable breaks or you can just use another micro USB. So it replicates the Xbox One controller. It's the rim of the controller glows. There's a little tube here that glows different neon colors. There's like a blue, green, red. It's also programmable, so you can adjust the brightness of the colors, change what color you want. And there's also on the D-pad, there's volume controls right here. So you click this button on the back here. Right there, you click that button and you go to a different mode and you can change the volume. And then also these two wheels here are little like replicate paddles. So you can program each way, so you can program this way to do a button, down to do a button, or push the thing to program a button for it. So I mainly use this for my PC. Yeah, because I don't have an Xbox One, so this is probably my favorite third-party controller that I have. It feels great in the hands, it feels of good quality, and there couldn't be any more good things. I can't say enough good things about this. Okay, so here I have the Xbox One Afterglow controller. Now, as you can see, it's lit up here, so I can change the sides. This changes the color. You can also make them pulse, so you can cycle through the colors. And then also, when it rumbles, see the lights blow up too. Next up, I have the Hyperkin X91 or X91, however you want to say it, for Xbox One and PC. So this is basically retro inspired. It kind of looks like a Genesis and Super Nintendo controller. I don't really use this that much because the controller's okay. Like these triggers feel alright, but I got this because I like the way it looked, and I think it's a pretty cool looking controller. Yeah, you can use it on the Xbox One or PC. Next up, I have the Insignia wireless controller for the SNES and NES Classic. So you can use this with the NES Classic, SNES Classic, the Wii and Wii U. It's a wireless, uses 2.4 gigahertz. There's a dongle you plug into the controller port. So it replicates the SNES controller, and I also did a full review on this controller. If you want to check it out, I'll leave the link in the description. Now last but certainly not least is the 8-bit DOE N30 PRO Controller. So this is modeled after an NES controller, but it has more buttons than the NES controller. It has 2 analog sticks, a D-pad, the full face buttons here, and then the shoulder buttons. So there's also a Famicom version of this available, so it's just a gold and red casing on there. So you can use this on PC, Mac, Android, Switch, Wii, Wii U, and PS3. So it's a very versatile controller. There's also another cool thing is that these little strips here on the side are lights. So when the controller needs to be charged, or when it's charging, or when you're pairing up a new device, it glows a different color. There's so many good things I can say about this controller. I would highly recommend it if you're looking for a cheap Nintendo Switch option like controller, so for like a second player, or just one to use for like the retro games they have available for it, or retro style games I should say. Like this controller is great. I love this controller so much. Thanks for checking out the video, everyone. I really appreciate it. If you liked the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. In the future, I will definitely do a first-party controller. It'll probably be a lot bigger than this collection. It'll probably fit the length of this table here. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to making more videos, and just leave a comment, like, and subscribe. Have a great day, everyone. Now, last but certain... Why can't I say this? Thanks, everyone. I really appreciate that you checked out the time to... Thanks, everyone, for checking out the video. I really appreciate it. If you could just leave a comment, like, and subscribe, I'll sure...